think we are all good, and I am just sorting out these last bits. So yeah, good. Hello, how's everybody doing? Hello again. Um, this is the standard stream for those who missed the one earlier today. That was AMD's Ryzen 5000 series launch. So this one is just the standard stream. So this is just to chat about the usual stuff. If you got tech support questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, hi. Zen, how are you? I'm not bad. What about you? I'm in quite a lot of pain at the moment. I had to use my good old walking stick to go from where I had my dinner next door to here. Gonna put my sock by the door. But yeah, 2 live streams in one day. I know it's rare, but this one is entirely about me. So if the other wasn't. Yeah. So I think this is the normal stream. This is the chat about the happenings. So I think the things that we should probably talk about today are the obvious one of AMD's new stream. Also the AMD's new graphics card that they were talking about, which as I mentioned on the stream earlier, some other benchmarks seem to confirm that the card that they're displaying, the performance they were showing, is sitting between a 3070 and a 3080, which is a decent position to be, but it's also, not 3090 killer. I mean, does it matter? No. Is it sad times? Yeah, a little bit. And then the other one actually is the other MSI controversy that's happened this week. Which seemed to have wrapped up as quick as it blew up, but that was an interesting one. I missed the AMD stream because of work. Fair play. So here's the recap, right? You have 3 new chips. Well, technically 4 new chips actually. Same lineup. So a 16 core, a 12 core, an 8 core, and a 6 core. The 6 core starts at $300. Then the 8 core is $449. The 12 core is $550, and then the 16 core is $800. There is a 19% claimed IPC uplift, which is very impressive. Then there is also it's the 16 core is faster than a 1000K apparently in gaming at 1080p specifically, and yeah, that they also talked about the new graphics card. I don't think anyone was expecting a 3090 level card from AMD. Some people definitely were. I wasn't one of them, but some people were. I think it's a bit of a shame that it's not on par or beating the 3080, because while obviously most people, like the vast majority of people who are buying graphics cards right now are buying, 1660 Ti to 2060, maybe 3070 now that's out. And obviously the 3070 is going to be the killer in terms of performance and this new generation, but not sure that, it's one of those mindshare type things where AMD on the desktop side, you always have to answer, currently, even with 3rd gen Ryzen, if you're talking to people who are a little less informed of the current state of the market, they go, oh well, Intel's been dominant, but 5 years ago when I last built a PC, so I take it they're still dominant now. And then you have to go, well, AMD's doing great. It's kind of a balance, and if you just want gaming, then technically Intel's better, but AMD has a better value proposition, or there's other things, and AMD's better for multitasking, and sort of future proofing, but then you have to kind of explain it. Whereas if you can say AMD has the fastest gaming CPU right now, it's a bit of a different story. Stop playing with your crotch on stream. Well, at least it's not my crotch. I bought a Ryzen 5 3600 a while ago. In quick, am I doomed? No, not really. The new chips do look impressive, for sure. But it's not like your current hardware is suddenly invalid. It's not like you're not going to get the same performance you were getting yesterday with the the same hardware. If you were to upgrade to a GPU that could be bottlenecked by significantly bottlenecked by a 3600, yeah, maybe going for a 5600 instead might be a better shout, or might be a reasonable shout. But in the grand scheme of things, no, the people who already have hardware, nah. And even the people who are considering hardware, the third gen Ryzen stuff is going to be an incredible value for money by comparison right now. No, that desk is my testing desk, so the reason the cables are everywhere is because what is there, and there changes every 5 minutes, and so trying to cable manage, stuff that comes and goes every 5 minutes doesn't really make sense. Hello to everybody who's here. I haven't had a chance to say hello to everyone directly, but hi. I'm Deutscher. What's the best 1440p high-end monitor? Planning on building with Zen 3 and Big Navi. Nice. So if you want the highest end monitor that I would still recommend, that's probably the Gigabyte Aorus FI27Q-P. I've done a review of it. Feel free to check it out. In fact, I will find the review of that for you, just because when I say model numbers and names and stuff, most people don't really catch that on stream, and so it can be a bit of a, what did you say? So I'll find that for you, but yeah, basically that's the sort of highest end that I would recommend. There's also the Acer one that I reviewed very recently. YouTube search is doing me a terrible. Yeah, so the Gigabyte one is IPS. There is also the Acer one, which is also IPS, that I checked out very recently. If I can find that one, that's the... Where's the Acer one? Can't read my own things. That's a virus guy, that's that one. Acer, there we go. There is also this one, which is a good bit cheaper, but is also 1440p, 144 Hz IPS, and is very nice. Thank you, Alan. Again, that's very generous. Thank you very much. If I was to upgrade my 750 Ti, when would be the perfect time to buy a card? So it depends how much you're willing to spend. If you're willing to spend in the like 200 to 300, you're super chatting in dollars, so I'm going to assume you're in the USA. In the $200 to $300 range, then buying one right now is probably not a terrible choice, because it seems like Nvidia isn't going to release any lower end cards than what we've got right now for another few months. AMD probably isn't going to announce a full stack of cards. The last time that they've done launches, they've done fairly staggered and been high end first and then lower end ones later. So if you're in that sort of price range, even approaching the higher end of 300, you're probably fine to buy one now. If you were willing to spend a bit more and higher end of 300 to 4 or 5, then waiting for AMD's announcement and the 37 to be available, that then basically. So effectively what I'm saying is wait till the end of the month if you're in the higher dollar price bracket, and then kind of see from there. Should I get a liquid cooler if I don't overclock my PC? There's no major reason to. You can get a very nice air cooler. The Arctic Freezer 34 Esports Duo is a very nice, relatively cheap and fairly well-performant air cooler. It's a single tower with twin fans. It looks pretty nice, it's really easy to mount, and yeah, it's just generally a good cooler for fairly little money. So that's fine, but if you want to get the looks, if you want to get the added performance depending on where you want to look, and obviously if you don't want to weigh the thing down, like weigh your motherboard down, which is a concern for some people on larger coolers like Noctua's NHD15, which by the way isn't really a concern unless you travel with your system, but anyway, point is, some people like them. The only thing I would mention with a liquid cooler is that they have a tendency to fail after 2 to 5 years, and so you'll need to replace that, whereas the air cooler that you buy, the only reason that you would ever need to replace it is you replace your motherboard and it doesn't mount to the same socket anymore. Like, it becomes obsolete that way rather than physically breaking. So yeah. Hello Hornet, how you doing? You're in the $400 to $500 range. So yeah, I would say wait till the end of the month, wait till the 3070 is out, wait till you see reviews and the performance of it, wait till you see what the Navi cards actually have to offer, and then you can make a sensible decision there. Should I get a new cooler for the 2600? I'm using a Race Stealth right now. The thermals are good, but the noise is quite loud. So honestly, that Arctic Freezer 34 Esports Duo I was talking about is a great solution for that. It's not, I think it's what, like 30 to 40 pounds, or probably very similar in euros, dollars, all that jazz. And so that's a good shout for that option. There's also like the Coolmaster Hyper 212 Evo, that, or whatever version of the Hyper 212 is available. That's also fine, although I've had fairly naff experience with mounting it by comparison. But yeah. How do I know if my liquid cooler failed? The CPU doesn't quite explode, but the answer is you will either hear the pump failing, which is normally the thing, or you will hear the or you will see your system say turn off, for example. Hey, YouTube is just deciding that it's poor or disconnected. Like, the fact that it's clearly, like, I'm streaming fine to Twitch is the most frustrating thing. I mean, I've streamed every Thursday for, God, 2 years, year and a half now. So I'm quite used to the process, but yeah, YouTube has not been wonderful for quality. When's the next car video? Tuesdays is when I'm currently posting them. I should have another one next Tuesday. So yeah, then. My PC once in a while randomly shuts off. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm used to seeing subscribed as in like YouTube subscribers. So Twitch subscribers is new and fun. But thank you very much. I'm getting double ad revenue on both Twitch and YouTube. Sweet. Because you're like, I think I'd need 1,000 views to get about $1. And I'm not getting 1,000 views today. Yeah, okay, cool. YouTube can just say terrible then. Sorry, so to answer some questions, my PC randomly turns off. Download a program called HW Info, or Hardware Info. That will tell you what the temperatures are. So you can see if your CPU is getting too hot. If it is getting too hot, then you will want to You will want to do the thing with the new cooler. Brain died. I play on 1080p 140Hz, but I use 3 monitors and stream a little sometimes. Would the RTX 3070 still be overkill? Should I upgrade my CPU instead? Currently running a Ryzen 5 2600 and a 5700 XT. So I think upgrading your CPU probably makes a little more sense because you stream more often. The 3070 will give you a better gaming experience, for sure, and you will have the NVENC encoder, which people tend to say is a better encoder to stream with. So there's that side too, but yeah, I think it's kind of a hard one. I think I would probably upgrade the CPU personally, but the GPU is also a compelling buy, so yeah, I'm not sure. What comparison between 1440p on Ultra and 4K on High, which would you go for? Personally, 1440p non-stop. One, because you get more performance even on, 1440p Ultra versus 4K High. You're still going to get more performance at 1440p. Two, there is a much wider availability of higher refresh rate 1440p monitors, which is fantastic. And the, the pixel density for me is the real sweet spot between being, pixel dense enough that everything is crisp and sharp, but also not, you don't have to worry about scaling issues with, say, Windows UI, for example, where everything is absolutely tiny or whatever else. So yeah, 1440p is where I would head. What do you think of the i7 10700? So Intel's non K SKU chips, especially when paired with a non Z series motherboards, are kind of awful. Like, they're not terrible. You're not going to have it's not going to explode or fail to do something basic, but the value proposition that they offer, especially on the 10 series, where you need a new motherboard, you need a Z series board if you want anything other than, for the i7, I think you can use 2933 megahertz RAM, but that's the maximum you can run if you don't have a Z series board. And even then, it's still not fantastic. They seriously underclock the non-K SKU versions as well. So personally, the non-K versions like the 10700, I don't think are really worth it. I think I would rather spend a little bit more money and get the 10700K instead. Do I really need a FreeSync Premium Pro monitor? No, not really. Most of the monitors, in fact, the two that I've mentioned, even if they are listed as FreeSync Premium Pro, the main thing about FreeSync, like the newer version of FreeSync, is that it offers HDR while, higher refresh rate, syncing, that kind of thing. And the two monitors that I've mentioned, they don't have enough brightness to really run HDR properly. And honestly, from my experience, HDR gaming just isn't there yet. It didn't feel like a better experience to me to game on. I have gamed on multi-thousand-pound monitors with 1000 nit brightness and all that jazz, and just it didn't do it for me. So no, personally, I wouldn't bother. I wouldn't worry too much. 15 viewers on Twitch. Wow, that's a record for me. Hello, people. How you doing? Mitchell, you asked what do you think of the LG 34WN650? Is that the? Let me check real quick. I haven't reviewed any LG monitors in quite a while, so that's one that I haven't reviewed, and so I can't tell you directly, but I can certainly have a look and see what it. I thought it was the ultra wide. Yeah. So the thing about that one is that it is a 34-inch but 1080p ultra wide, and I've had that style of monitor in before, and it's not the best experience. It's not the worst, certainly, and ultra wides are fantastic, but if you can get a ultra wide that is maybe a tiny bit more expensive. I don't know how much you're looking to spend on one, and I suppose what you're planning on doing with it, but if you can get a 1440p 34-inch ultra wide instead, that is a much better experience pixel density side. My 3600 is with a stock cooler, so idles about 50 degrees and up to 80 while gaming. I want to upgrade to a 5800X. Any air cooler you would recommend now? So the one that I've actually talked about quite a lot on the stream so far is the Arctic Freezer 34 Esports Duo. It's probably a little underpowered for the 5800X. It's probably not too bad, but if I'm not sure what my next step up from that would normally be. I think these days I look at and review a lot of closed loop AIO liquid coolers instead, and so that's fairly obvious. You can go to one of those, but also, especially if the performance per watt is as good as they claim it is, that could be a reasonable option instead. One thing that I should mention, and one thing that F7 pointed out to me, is that of the new chips that AMD are launching, only the Ryzen 5, the 5600X, will come with a cooler. The 58s, the 59 and the 5950Xs, none of those will come with stock coolers in the box as of AMD's press release today. So yeah, to make that clear. Best full-size motherboard for the AMD 3950X. So it depends what you want to do with it specifically. If you need as much PCIe Gen 4 bandwidth as you can get, then getting the getting an X570 board would make some sense. But if you're using it for a fairly standard setup, one NVMe SSD, whether that's Gen 3 or Gen 4, doesn't really matter, a single GPU or expansion card, and a normal amount of RAM, then something like the ASRock B550 Steel Legend is a really nice option. It is a little bit on the expensive side, and you can technically go with a B450 board, B450 Steel Legend for example, if you don't want PCI Gen 4 support and you're not as worried about direct upgradability to 5th gen or 5000 series Ryzen. But yeah. I was looking to replace my Asus Crosshair 7 Hero X470 for an X570 because I'm fed up of it not detecting my boot drive. What would you recommend for 3900X? So it depends how much you're willing to spend. The Crosshair, I suppose the Crosshair here is sort of mid to high end. The one that I use currently is, like I said earlier, the X570 AORUS Master, which has worked really well for me. There are a number of other boards that you could check out, but £200-300. So yeah, in that price range, I don't know how much the X570 Master is these days. It changes so often that I don't remember, but I'll check Overclockers and see what they've got it for. If I can type. Okay, it's a bit much. 375. Yeah, maybe not. What have they got? I like how the first option is the AORUS Extreme. Yes, that's the one I want. AORUS Pro then, if you want X570. Kind of depends what you're after features wise, but yeah, something like that. I was expecting Zen 3's pricing to be similar to Zen 2's. Your thoughts? To a point, so was I. The one that most people will care about is the Ryzen 5, which is $50 more than the launch price of the 3700X, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, it's a little higher. I'm not sure whether it's a little higher because they're going to change their mind at the last second, you know, the day before the launch or the launch day, and say, oh, by the way, there's a price correction and it's actually this. Because they have done that a number of times before, but yes, at its current pricing, it does seem a little high. I would expect it, you know, if it was $275, I think that would make it a better, more appealing option, because you're looking at $25 more new for potentially a good amount more performance, including gaming performance more. The fact that they're looking to sell it at $300, at least currently anyway, means that it is more expensive than the 10600K, and I'm fairly certain that the 10600K, especially if you're to overclock it, will perform better than a a 5600X instead. Sir, need your help? 6600K is probably dead, and if it's definitely dead, should I go for the 9100F and a new motherboard, or just put a 6600K in? So I think I replied to your comment elsewhere as well, but the answer is that a 6600K, or if you're willing to spend a little bit more, 6700K is going to be a much faster chip than a 9100F, and so that's where I would head. What's the difference between G-Sync compatible and a dedicated G-Sync module built in? So the answer is, in terms of a usage experience, not much. The dedicated G-Sync module these days does have some slight benefits. Normally the sync range, how low it will go before it stops syncing with the frame rate, is normally lower than FreeSync monitors. And the other thing is that you can run HDR through that G-Sync module, whereas G-Sync compatible, I'm not sure if that's available yet. But in the real world usage experience, if you're to sit someone down in front of a direct G-Sync versus a G-Sync compatible monitor, it's very unlikely that you would ever know the difference. And so, yeah, not that much in the real world. Hey, is the RX 580 still an acceptable card? If you're buying it used, definitely. Just make sure you don't get a mining card. And then if you're buying it new, I think there might be some better value propositions. I want to say that the 1650 Super might be a better value. But yeah. G-Sync isn't perfect either. I still get tearing occasionally. That's interesting. I've got an Asus PG279Q, the IPS 165Hz G-Sync, and I haven't noticed that myself, although I'm not always the most observant for display issues, personally. Hi, Anazig. How? Hey, gonna build a PC soon. Priority will be gaming content creation. In my country, a Ryzen 5 3600 is retailing for $275, and the i5 10400F $200. Should I buy the 10400F and an H460? How much is a B450 motherboard where you are? Now there are better values, but when I built the kids' machines with Zen Plus, the 470, the 580 have been more than great on 1080p displays. Yeah, definitely. Like those cards are I suppose were, and especially on the used market, are fantastic value, and especially if you're only playing at 1080p, that's a great option. Ah, I see. Then, in that case, yeah, like I said, if you're playing at 1080p, it's still an acceptable experience, certainly. there are some games where you might, especially if you're running a higher refresh rate monitor, you might want to turn the settings down a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about that's you know, the performance you're getting there. My Asus RG Swift PG27V monitor has a color flashing issue, aka factory mode issue, so I have to ship it back to South Africa, and I don't know when I get a replacement. That's terrible, and I'm sorry to hear that. Good monitors out of my budget. So, are you looking for an ultra wide, or are you looking for a 16:9 display? And what sort of budget are you looking for? Having 8GB of VRAM works better than my GTX 970. That's a good point, actually. AMD was definitely ahead of the curve on amount of VRAM for those cards. And even the 470, I think, had an 8GB version. So, Mitchell, the reason I'm asking is that monitor isn't for sale easily in the UK. So, I don't know what price it is with you. And also asking about your requirements, I suppose. Because I might have some other better suggestions, but it's also, you know, I can't recommend you stuff if you don't want it, I suppose, is what I'm trying to get at. Is 64GB foolish with a Ryzen 7 Zen 3 8-core? It depends what you're doing. I have 64 gigs with a Ryzen 7 3700X, and I use it all. Because I video edit 4K videos on a literal daily basis, and so I do use all of the RAM. Literally, I sent a screenshot in the Discord the other day of I was using 62.5 gig or something like that. So yeah, it's not foolish if you are doing things like video editing, and certainly if you're multitasking video editing, if you're doing, like, so for example, when I edit videos, I have Premiere open to arrange and cut everything, but then I also often have Adobe Media Encoder rendering clips down bitrate in the background. I've also got After Effects open doing motion graphics, and then, you know, you might have Photoshop or Illustrator open for thumbnails and other things to add into videos. So yeah, they've held up better than the GTX 970's 4 gig. It's actually 3.75 gig or 3. It was 3.5 gig because the last 5 gig is what you call it, like ridiculously slow. So there was a massive lawsuit about that, and you could get $12 or something back or something like that. Don't remember, but yeah. B415, B460 are around the same price, right? Or should I buy a 3700X and a B550 Tomahawk because AM5 will most likely be coming next year and pair it with an RTX 3060 potentially? So I suppose you're kind of talking about different price points. The 3700X will be a fantastic chip, and I think you will probably get more for your money with the 3700X than you will with a 10700. If you wanted to stay at the lower price point, the 10400 is probably a better value there. You know, value where you are. But yeah, it depends. If you're willing to spend a bit more, you will get a much nicer chip and experience more power, and that will depend on which option you get. Nice one, Friction. I have some friends who are playing it and really enjoying it. I don't think it's quite up my street. I'm a bit too impatient to play things like D&D too much. I'm going to hold on to my 3700X and B550 Strix board with my 2070. Might get a newer card, but we'll see. Nice one, Mike. Yeah, fair. That's a... It depends on if the world still exists. Yeah, that's true. It might not. Possible. But yeah, fair. That's still a decent combination. And even at, say, 1440p, you're still going to have a nice, you know, gaming experience with that. What's your take on 1440p 140Hz monitors these days? So I've reviewed a lot of 1440p 140Hz monitors, and the fact that you can buy that Acer one that I reviewed, the VG271UP, for like 300 or 350 pounds or something like that. That's an IPS display as well. I don't really see a need to go 1080p. Obviously, depending on how much you're willing to spend, your graphics card, all that jazz. But if you do want to go 1080p, the AOC 24 GTU is still the standout monitor. That's IPS. It's a really nice monitor, and it was, last time I checked anyway, was selling for like £180. So yeah, really good. But yeah, I personally prefer 1440p because it's fantastic. I certainly wouldn't begrudge anyone or belittle anyone for gaming at 1080p. It's still a very nice experience, and let's face it, it's not that much of an upgrade, but to go 1440p. But yeah, I think that the selection that's available is wide enough. That's a very nice system, Mitchell. Very nice indeed. What do you think of the performance of the RX 6000 series cards? So it's not on par with 3080. It's oh, see you then. From both my own benchmarks with 3080 and with taking a look at some other people's results, the what you call it, the RX 6000 card, whatever card that ends up being, it should sit between a 3070 and a 3080, which is a nice place to be. But we already know that Nvidia are going to release a 3070 Super, 3070 Ti or whatever, and so that's going to be a bit of a upset for AMD there. Opinion on Ryzen 5000 series. It looks really interesting. I'm really interested to see the performance. The pricing seems a little off, but I do wonder if they're going to pull the same trick they did with the RX 5700 and 5700 XT, where they drop the price, close to launch. But yeah. What's your thoughts on the Dell 32-inch VA? Tom's hardware rated at the first 1440p monitor, great performance and balance. So personally, I prefer my 1440p monitors in the 27-inch variety. I do understand the 32-inch, flavor. With that said, I haven't reviewed any Dell monitors in a while. I've heard some great things, but let me take a look and see what price that one's at. What was it called? The Dell. Oh, yes. $405. So that doesn't seem like an amazing value for money to me, mostly because I've reviewed a lot of 4040p monitors, and so if you want a better value than that, the what you call it? Come on, brain. The Acer VG271UP. That one is a IPS model that's selling for £350, $350. So it's a cheaper monitor. Yes, smaller, 27 inches, but it's also it's IPS. So it's an even nicer panel, I would assume, than that one. But I have spoken to Dell, and I do hope to be reviewing one of their monitors fairly soon. So that will give me a better idea of what the Dell monitor market is about. speaking of. I wonder if people will camp out for the new AMD CPUs. I think they will. I think if they drop the price a bit, they definitely will. But yeah. So we have some conflicting opinions on the Samsung Odyssey, with Paul not liking the curve, and I can understand that, and also Friction really liking the curve, which to a degree I can understand that. I'm already camping outside PC World right now. Nice, you'll be waiting a while. Thank you, Michael. Hi, running a Zen 2 3700X light overclock. Looking to upgrade the graphics card. Right, got you. Vega 56 overclock. That's the one. 3080 or AMD variant of 16 gigs, and similar price. Maybe after a year of upgrading. Maybe after a year upgrade to 5950X. Keep my PC as long as it serves me. Would you change anything in my plans? Honestly, no. That sounds like a decent setup. You're clearly an enthusiast with it, which is awesome. So yeah, I would say wait till the end of the month to see what AMD come out with, and then you can make your decision what what you want to go with, what makes the most sense value for money wise. And yeah, upgrading CPU later. Again, it kind of depends what you're after, what you're doing with it, but yeah. Not 1800R, but 1000R is steep. Yeah, that is true. That is very tight. Wait for Black Friday. That's true. Although it's unlikely that brand new products like the 3000 series or the 5000 series or the 6000 series from the various companies will go on sale at Black Friday. The only difference will be if the older stuff goes on sale, which it might. Oh yeah, you can't forget Prime Day, which as an Amazon affiliate, I would greatly appreciate it if you use my links when you buy stuff. But yeah, when Prime Day actually comes up, I'll be scouring to find any interesting deals. When's Prime Day? I want to say that it was relatively soon. I've been getting emails about it, although I've only got emails in different languages. 13th and the 14th of October, it seems. I'm reading that in Italian and I'm reading it in German. Yeah, 13th and 14th of October. Wait, is that this weekend? It's Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Okay. Weird. But yeah. I finally managed to buy a 3080. Nice. Congrats. What are your comfortable settings for overclocking a 1660 Ti in mobile in Armoury crates? I'm not quite sure what you mean by 1660 Ti mobile, and I definitely haven't overclocked in ASUS's Armoury crate software. So honestly, I am not sure, I'm afraid. Amazon NL, unfortunately not. Come on, brain. Amazon's Netherlands affiliate program is not available for UK residents. You have to be an EU resident, and we're not anymore for some reason. Hello, Matt. You're more than welcome. Do you have products on Amazon so I can use your code? So I don't have products, but I do have affiliate links. Those are in the description. I have my whole PC setup linked down there, which are affiliate links that should work for you. Actually, they might not if you're in South Africa, but you want to buy from UK. Nah. But yeah, those are a thing. If you have a VPN, just VPN to UK and that'll work. I bought my Acer Monster through your affiliate link. I remember, thank you very much. I'm not sure if it showed up. I don't check them all that often. I used to check it a lot, but yeah. You can move to Ireland, not a stretch for so. Well, I could just move back to Scotland and they might leave. So. Oh, what a mess. Should I buy a 3600 on Prime Day? Do you know that's quite a good choice? The weather shit either way. Yeah. Yeah, so the 3600 would be a good shout if you can get it for cheap. So yeah, I don't see why not. I wonder what the weirdest thing that someone's bought with an affiliate link. I seem to remember that Tom Scott did a video on all the weird things, mostly sex objects that you know, people bought with his affiliate link. I honestly don't remember if there's anything overly fun in mine. I don't think so. At least not in the last like 6 months. Fortunately. Yeah. Full suit of chainmail armor. Nice. I'd do it. Would do it. A lot of Americans buy like supplement, you know, like vitamin pills and stuff through my Amazon affiliate link, which I found kind of interesting. Linus did an affiliate purchase video. He did, didn't he? Yeah. I think he did a lot of like builds that you bought this year ones. Can you see who bought it? But what? No, so it's completely anonymized in that sense. I just see a big list of what things were purchased, normally what price they were purchased for, and you know what commission I get from them and stuff. But yeah, not in particular. Like I can't see Phil bought this marital aid or anything like that. No. Yes, so if you click on one of my Amazon affiliate links, I get a I potentially, because they can sort of deny the claim, but I potentially get a kickback from that. It doesn't cost you anything. It comes out of Amazon's cut, so and it doesn't cost the actual seller anything either, because they're already paying 15% or 10% or something to Amazon. So yeah, all good. I have doubts. I've got an RX 5700 XT, Red Devil issues. I run an MSI X470 Gaming Plus Max, run the newest car driver. Doesn't fix my problem. Issue is the ATI sys file. You can try using a software called DDU to wipe the driver and reinstall. That should potentially help. But other than that, I'm not sure. Tuning back in after being away for a while. When is DDR5 coming? Not until next year. Bezos pays win-win. Exactly. Hey, Joe. No worries. I've been meaning to ask you, Joe, are you planning on signing up to Locally anytime soon? Oh, we passed over 1 million clicks. We've served over 1 million clicks with Locally, which is insane. Let me check how many we're on today. Yeah, 1.025 mil. Mental. Are you based in London? No. I wouldn't live in London if you paid me to. No, I am in the East Midlands. Although I'm from Scotland. No worries, Mitchell. Have a good night. CPU stuck at max frequency, which I don't think is good. Windows power mode is balanced. If it goes down if I put it in save mode. Tried to update BIOS. Windows update is also stuck. Nice. So what CPU do you have? Probably the big question. I'm forgetting. Is Ryzen 5 the end of line for support for the motherboard supports? Yes. So Ryzen 5000 is proclaimed as the last AM4 chip. Next year's chips, Ryzen 6000, we assume, will be AM5, we assume, chips that won't be backwards compatible. No worries, Joe. I will do. I mean, I'll probably forget to ping you again, but I will do. Well, I'll set a reminder on my phone. What's wrong with London? It's like you have no space. It's so busy, and everything's expensive. Got X570 board edge think, and you want to buy 5900X. So that should be fine. Those new chips should actually be more power efficient. I seem to remember running the 3900X in that board, and I didn't really have too much trouble. So I don't think that it's going to be a big deal. Sure. I have X470 and Ryzen 2600, but when I start installing Ryzen Master, opened and closed immediately without touching anything. Oh, right, I see. So yeah, that's the... so when you say you can't reinstall Windows, do you mean using Reset This PC? Or do you mean, like, you can't reinstall Windows, like, with a bootable USB stick? I would try and uninstall, if you haven't already, uninstall Ryzen Master, and see if that can help. But yeah, it does sound like there's a bit of a bug with the with the install of Ryzen Master. So I don't think it's going to be AM4 Plus specifically, because AM3 Plus was back. You could use an AM3 Plus chip and an AM4 and an AM3 board. So I think it will be AM5 because it will be separate. Chris, because you're a businessman. Can I safely buy CL16 3600 MHz RAM if we're going for one of these CPUs? Yes, I think you can. I think that we haven't heard anything about the memory controllers being any different. The fact that the CCX layout is different could potentially mean room for better. Thank you very much. For better sort of upgradability in terms of clock speeds or RAM speeds, but yeah, 3600 MHz is a safe bet for these chips. The Acer one is one that I've personally reviewed, and it's fantastic. The LG one might be a good option as well, but I haven't tested it personally, so the Acer one is probably where I would head from my own experience right now. No worries, Galaxy. Hello. How you doing, man? Hey, someone tag me. They did at the wheel videos. Who wants to drag race? Thank you, Bling. Thank you very much. Oh yes, Tom has one of the Acer monitors as well. Hey, I've got 1200 to spend on a laptop. Which one do you think is best? Oh, no, that's a question. Oh, that's tough. See, there's a great one for 1500, and there's some good ones for 1000. Ha, ha, ha. No. You too. No. Yeah. So video production in mind. So if you can find one with the new a Ryzen 4000 series CPU, that if you're doing video production primarily, that would be where I would head. The XMG one, the Core 15, is a good shout. The only thing is that ends up being more like 1500 instead with the configuration. You can, I suppose you could probably option it down enough, but it'd probably be a little over that. The Lenovo Legion 5 might actually be a very good shout. I haven't tried one myself, but yeah, that could be a very good shout. Oh yeah, I'm planning on, or I'm meant to be doing a sponsor thing with HP Omen, I think, laptops, in November. So that would be interesting. Oh yeah, we've got a few minutes left. To cover why I would generally recommend you stay away from MSI, at least right now. Their laptop department had a complete meltdown and tried to force me to take a review down, and then effectively bribe me to take it down, and then threaten me to take it down, and then asked AMD to threaten me to take it down. And yeah, that was just absolutely terrible. And then literally this week, a wholly owned subsidiary of MSI was caught scalping, selling brand new MSI RTX 3080s and 3090s, brand new inventory at double MSRP on eBay, like as their company eBay, like the company that MSI wholly owns. And apparently it was an actual MSI employee who was putting all the listings up. They were scalping their own products at launch. Oh my god. To me, that would indicate that there are substantial issues with the corporate structure to allow that sort of thing to happen across multiple continents. So yeah. Oh yes, Maris. So the 24 GTU is fantastic. It is a shame that it's not available. If you can hold on until the retailer has stock of that one instead, that will be a very good option. But yeah, that's I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything in that immediate price range that would be, you know, worth it. Yeah. Xiaomi displays, I haven't actually. Any thoughts on pairing coolers? So the what you call it? The Arctic Freezer 34 Esports Duo is a great cooler for probably up to the 5800. Above that, you're probably looking at a larger air cooler or liquid cooler, and Honestly, if you want liquid cooling, the Fractal Design S24 is still my favorite. It's still, it's an Acertech design, but it has some really nice quality of life improvements that make it a very, very nice cooler. It's nice and quiet. It's easy to use, good thermal. So yeah. Yeah. GG accidental telecast. But yeah. So I usually do these streams for an hour. This is already obviously earlier today was kind of an interesting one. But yeah, I do these streams every what you call it, every Thursday 8 p.m. UK time. So if you have any questions, feel free to either jump in the Discord that's linked in the description, or you can jump in back next week, same time and all that jazz. Also, there's more videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So make sure you stick around for those. And yeah, that's kind of it for me. What do you think of the new Corsair AIOs? I actually have one. They look alright, they're pretty decent, easy enough to mount up. I think they're probably a little more expensive than I'd like, and I really don't like how there's like 7 million wires for everything, but yeah. I haven't tested those yet. I'm gonna actually ask for one because I've heard a lot of people say that they're really good, so I'll test them and see. But anyway, that's pretty much it for me. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow for a video and next week. Bye.